In these past two episodes where I have talked about the way Cait and Vi win the fights against each other that you don't think they should, many of you probably have noticed that I have directly been neglecting the one actual real confrontation that they had, which was coming out of the sewers, in which they have failed to eliminate Jinx. There was a very good reason that I was not talking about it, and tonight we're gonna talk about it. I just got back from work. I was going to go to sleep. No, I don't know what my hair is doing either, but I decided to choose violence. Here we are. Now, I did mention this a little bit before in terms of the argument that they had, that Vi very clearly won that one, right? Like, unequivocally, she knew it. She knew she won. Caitlyn knew she won. It was very clear that, like, Vi sort of had the moral high ground there. And it certainly wasn't unfair for Vi to call out Caitlyn in that moment, right? Caitlyn was behaving a little erratically due to things we've talked about before, right? Her fear, her anger, her issues with her own legacy and family name. However, the reason it went the way it did is because Vi made a very crucial error in that moment. See, something interesting about Vi is that as the type of fighter she is, the type of boxing that she employs, her real power doesn't come so much from her strength, but from her precision. As you can see throughout most of her fights, she is an expert at picking out targets and hitting them exactly as intended. A really good example of this is her fight with Savika, right? Vi should have probably won that fight about 3 or 4 times over because she just kept connecting with Savika's jaw, and it's because she was targeting there heavily. But Savika, you know, with the help of some shiver, was just like the kind of monster who could shrug it off. But either way, Vi was doing some incredible targeting there. An underrated skill of Vi is that she is very good about noticing opponents' weaknesses. And this is not just true of her fists, this is also true of her mouth. Think about how many times in the series Vi has said like one sentence that has just brought a conversation to a complete halt. In the first sort of argument she had with Vander in the series, when did you get so comfortable being in someone else's shadow? Remember how everyone just silent? Jace might be a bit of a pushover generally, but she won against him in 2 specific arguments with singular lines, right? She correctly identifies his own issues with injustices and points out that, you know, you throw people in a box without ever knowing what it's like yourself, instantly he changes topic, right? Same thing down in the Shimmer Factory itself. She's just like, you want these back? I guess you're just going to have to do exactly what you just did and end the life of a trencher. Boom. He quits right there. We've talked why Vi is good at winning arguments, but we don't point out that she delivers finishing blows when she does. And in 2 times has she let her temper get away from her. The first one should be pretty obvious, right? After Powder explodes the cannery, she has 2 actions in which her temper gets away from her. She strikes Powder, grabs her by the jaw, and calls her a jinx. She makes the mistake of letting her anger get the better of her, strikes out, something she almost never does, but also targets her sister in the way that she knows is going to hurt her the most. I'm not saying she did it because she wanted to hurt her sister, but it is the fact that when you have an awareness of something like that and you are seized by emotion, you're going to react in that way, especially if you have the kind of training that Vi does. So in the moment in the sewers, after Jinx gets away, what does she say to Cait? Why are you the one acting like her? I think we've probably glossed over a little bit just how vicious a thing that was to say. Because certainly among other things before this, Caitlyn has certainly noticed the similarities between herself and Jinx. Both of them are incredibly intelligent, but can also be quite obsessive when they get focused on a goal, right? Obviously, they both have blue hair and care about Vi, but they also are both excellent shots. At this point in time, the biggest difference really between them is that Jinx has done a lot of violence and ended a lot of lives because she doesn't care about harming other people and she doesn't care about taking other lives. And again, Vi was not incorrect to point out that Caitlyn had wavered pretty hard on that particular distinction at the end of that fight. But to do that in a manner which compares you to the person who took your mother's life? I know she doesn't have a massive physical reaction or a facial reaction, but that's very Caitlyn, by the way. But that is about the worst thing you could have said to her in that moment, and she kind of freezes, and even Vi realizes that she's gone too far. Much like how we mentioned Caitlyn doesn't really know the limits of her own strength, Vi isn't able to turn off her ability to hit exactly where it hurts with her words. I gotta be real with you, I sure am glad I recorded this after the whole series dropped so I don't have to spend like another 2 weeks wondering if it's ever gonna be okay with them again, because my god, if I had recorded this back then...